Details of the Jake Muzzin trade to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm super jacked about this. I'm a homegrown Toronto Maple Leaf fan, so there's lots to talk about here. Let's get to the basics first. So in exchange for Jake Muzzin, the LA Kings get left winger AHLer Carl Gunstrom, right shot defenseman Sean Jersey of the OHL, and a first round pick in 2019 draft. Let's get back to Muzzin. Now, Muzzin is a 29-year-old left shot defenseman. He's 6'3". He's 213 pounds. As Babcock would say, he plays heavy. He is signed through the 2019-20 season, so the rest of this season and next season. He's only going to cost the Leafs just over $1 million for this season and $4 million next season. Cheap. Yes, good job, Dubas. He shoots left, but he also plays right defense. I know the Leafs were supposed to get a right shot defenseman, but I guess they were just too expensive out there, and this was the next best thing. The price is great, so hey, why not? Let's get to some of his stats here. In 2016-17, he had a bit of an off year. He only had 28 points, and he was a minus 21. But last season, he got back to his normal self. He had 8 goals, 34 assists, and 42 points. He was a plus 10. And this season so far, in 50 games played, he's got 4 goals and 17 assists for 21 points, and he's a plus 10 as well on the LA Kings. A plus 10 on I think the worst. I want to say the worst or close to the worst team in the league at the moment. So that's got to say something. Also in 2014, when the Kings won the Cup, he had 12 points in 26 games played. Now Muzzin usually plays with either Martinez or Doughty. He's a penalty. He can play on the penalty kill. He's played on the second power play unit in LA as well. He also played with Babcock at the last World Cup for Canada, so they're somewhat familiar with each other. That's good. Where is he going to play? He's a heavy player he's got experience at stopping the cycle in the D zone, and he's a monster at moving the puck out of the zone as well. He's great at that, and he plays the body. You just get on the internet right now, you'll see tons of clips of him just hitting people. So that's another good part of the deal. Now, he'll most likely, he's going to play with Morgan Riley. He's probably going to move to the right side, and he's going to play alongside him on that first line D pair. You'll see, where's Hainsey going to go? Hainsey, there's been a bit of talk about where he might be. He might go. More people seem to think that he's going to go and bounce Ozhiganov off of that right side and play with Dermott, which would be great for Dermott. And then Gardner and Zaitsev would stay on as that second pairing. Or what I like even better is I like Hainsey on the second pairing, which some people have mentioned, playing with Gardner as a safety net for Mr. I'll make one big mistake every 6 games. I love Gardner. I don't mean to trash him. He moves the puck a lot. He gets a lot of points, but we all know he's every now and then he's prone to a really big glaring mistake, and he could use a stay-at-home defenseman like Hainsey to kind of cover his butt. Really, I'm not sure Babcock's going to play him that way. And either way, Gardner or Dermott could benefit from that. The odd man out here, either way, is probably Ozhiganov. He'll probably become their 7th defenseman. What else can I say about Jake Muzzin? He went undrafted. LA signed him to a contract, I want to say, in 2010, and he kind of grew up with the team, really, and won that cup with them. And now we have an experienced vet on the blue line. Some people don't think Kyle Dubas is quite finished either. I know Toronto has a little bit of cap space left. I want to say anywhere between $4 and $5 million. could they go out and get a yet another defenseman, maybe a right shot D, still, who's maybe not at quite as expensive? I don't know about that. But I mean, when Jake Gardner leaves next season, because he'll become a UFA at the end of this one, Jake Muzzin could slide right into that spot. I mean, a lot of people thought Dermott might slide up to that number 2 pairing, but if they can keep Dermott down in that 3 spot for another year, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And then I know Hainsey will be a UFA. And then you'll have to fit some spots in that first, especially in that first and second pairing, for the right defenseman, because all you have right now would be Zaitsev and Ozhiganov, and I don't think anyone's completely confident with either one of those guys right now. I think they're more third line pairing defensemen. What else can we say about this? Then I'm excited. That's really all I can say. Let's talk about the other side of things. Let's talk about what LA's getting. Now, Carl Gunstrom is a 21-year-old left winger. He's 6 foot. He's about 201 pounds. In the 2018-19 AHL season, which is right now, in 42 games so far, he's had 13 goals and 16 assists for 29 points. He only came to the Marlies last season. It was just before the end of the season, and he played the entire playoffs. He went with them and won the Calder Cup. In 20 games there, he had 8 goals and 6 assists. 8 goals. 8 goals and 6 assists and 14 points. He's kind of, how would I describe him? He's kind of like LA's getting like a more talented Leo Komarov. He hits, he's an agitator, he's sandpaper, he gets in front of the net, and he's, dirty goals, that kind of thing. I think he's a third line player, might have potential to be a second line left winger. He's young. And he can play. He'd probably play next year. I think Toronto was going to try and bring him up next season. So there you have it. I'm sad to see him go. He also played with Frölunda in Sweden. He's from Sweden for a couple of seasons and did really well there as well. I want to say he played in the 2016 and 17 World Juniors and had, especially in 2017, had a great run with them as well. Moving on to Sean Jersey, you're basically looking at a very high hockey IQ, right, fast, puck-moving defenseman, which is basically the modern NHL defenseman. He's 20 years old. He's 6 foot, but 187 pounds right now. He's probably still going to be putting on muscle. I wouldn't doubt he can get up to around close to the 200 range. During this season so far in the OHL, after 26 games, he's had 8 goals and 20 assists for 28 points in 26 games in the OHL. I know it's the OHL, but still, it's a competitive league. Last year in the OHL, 2017-2018 season, in 40 games played, he had 15 goals and 34 points. 34 assists, 15 goals and 34 assists, and 49 points in 40 games. This guy's got a lot of potential as well. I don't know that he'll start next season with LA. He probably will need to marinate for at least, I would think, a couple seasons for the Ontario Reign, LA's AHL franchise, but he's definitely got a lot of potential. And then, of course, the first round pick that LA will get, which will most likely be a 20-plus pick, which is more like a second round pick, a high second round pick than anything else. So Toronto doesn't give up anything off their roster right now, which is really what they wanted to do. I mean, I know they were looking at players. They were looking at Dougie Hamilton. They were looking at Brett Pesce from the Carolina, both of them from the Carolina Hurricanes. But Hamilton, he's got a bomb shot. He can put up some points. But Leafs already have offensive defensemen. And he was a right shot, but he would have come, and he had a decent contract. What was it, about around $5.5 million a year. but there was a question about how he fits into locker rooms and meshes with everyone, and he wasn't particularly good in his own zone. So I definitely think he was probably the worst possible guy they could have gone out and got. Now, Pesce, on the other hand, is more of a stay-at-home defenseman, right shot. He would have been a lot of use to the Maple Leafs, but I think Carolina wanted Kapanen. There's no way the Leafs are giving up Kapanen and Pesce. It would have to be a much more multiplayer deal, and Kapanen is right now one of the fastest players in the league. He's probably a future, maybe in a couple of years, like a future 30-goal scorer, at least 25 to 20 to 30 goal scorer a year, this guy, and he skates like the wind. So Toronto was going to do that. I know they were also looking at a few other players here and there. Who else was mentioned? I think Spurgeon from Minnesota was mentioned at one point. Dumba, Colton Paryenko from St. Louis, Pietrangelo from St. Louis, and everyone just wanted too much, or they weren't completely out of the playoff picture, as in Minnesota and St. Louis. So they maybe were in the more of the buying mode or the wait and see mode, closer to the deadline, to see, if they were going to take a run at the playoffs or not, and if they wanted to sell. So the prices were too high. So yeah, they got the left shot defenseman. He's not a righty, but again, he can play the right, and he's a tough, solid, heavy playing guy. Babcock's gonna love him. He's gonna love him. And yeah, I'm really excited. I would love to hear your opinion and your thoughts about this trade, who you think won it, how Jake Muzzin fits into Toronto's lineup, where you think Hainsey is going to be moved to, if it's going to be the second or third line pairing, and what do you think about LA's score here? Did Dubas give up too much? Because these are some pretty good players, but they're potentially good players. So, in any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Hit like if you liked it. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.